Hello everybody, Giselle Grenier here from artplace.ca. In today's video lesson, I'm going to be creating another piece of miniature art, and this is going to be my inspiration for this little piece of art. So you can do this on any size. You can do it as an ATC, a postcard, bookmark, on a larger piece, framed. It's up to you. I'm going to be doing it ATC size because I'm creating a whole bunch of ATCs for some people. All right, so 2.5 by 3.5 is the size, and what I want to do is, this is going to be the main focal piece, so it will be going right in the corner. Now, the prep work that I did for this to prime the card was to give it was 2 coats, because this was only 90-pound watercolor paper, and I wanted to make it a bit thicker and a bit more sturdy. So it was 2 coats of the DecoArt Media gesso, the white gesso, 2 coats on both sides using my number 8 bristle brush. And I use this brush because of the texture of the paper. I wanted the gesso to go right into all the pores. And there we go. And this I picked up from Graphics Fairy. I'll have all the information in the supply list. And this is a fairly simple little card that I'm doing. And we're going to have some ribbon and some stuff. And I'm doing it differently this time. This is the quote I'm going to be using, but I'm not going to be using a die cut. I'm going to be using a stencil on some burlap. All right, so the first thing we have to do, I want to tint the paper to a similar color as the cardstock, because the actual printable is a little small. And my go-to colors for that is a combination of raw sienna and Titan buff. So it requires a little bit of mixing, a little bit of raw sienna and a little bit of Titan buff. And Titan buff is made with, it's 2 different types of whites, PW6 and PW6-1. So let's see what happens. Whoops. And I'll use my palette knife. So roughly equal parts. That's 2 yellow. Put it over there. There we go. So 2 parts of Titan buff, 1 part raw sienna. If you don't have either one, just take white with whatever brown you have to get something close. Okay, and I want to take a little shader brush, apply it dry, and I am going to be painting the entire card because I never know if things are going to change as I'm working. I usually let the project dictate how I'm going to be doing it. As things change, little subtleties appear and I get inspired, and I just jump on that. And you can also paint the back as well. I'm leaving the back because I'm going to be putting a label on it. But you can take the techniques of this, so you don't have to even do it for the holidays. You can take the techniques for this and apply it really to anything. Just use whatever piece that inspires you and just go from there. And the only thing I actually picked up for this project that I didn't have for the project was this. That was the only thing I needed. And everything that I'm showing you, you can actually just change up the quote and you can make a piece of art for something else. Okay, so while that's drying, put that aside. And what I need to do now, let's see, if I venture, I've got some ribbon. So my idea is, we'll pretend this is the card. My idea is to, I've got some, this was just some cotton lace trim, picked up at the dollar store, and some burlap. Picked this up at Michael's. It comes in a nice roll. You can use whatever you want. And my idea is to do something like this, with stenciled though, and some buttons and a little bit of stenciling. So that's my idea of where I'm going. So what we'll do with this, I'll start off first. I just want to take, I'm going to be using DecoArt So Soft fabric paint for these. And for this one here, this is titanium white. Just need a little bit. All I'm doing is adding a little bit of visual texture. And I'm going to be taking a... Actually, I want to take my number 8 Bristol Bright, because I don't want to cover the whole thing. I just want to create a little bit of contrast with the burlap. And as well, if I just get it over the edges a little bit, it will hold the pieces together. These little frayed pieces. That's it. That was simple. And all I did with those frayed pieces was just pull the strings off. You don't have to buy the stuff made like that. You can just do it yourself. All right, so I'm going to put that aside to dry. And now for this one, I'm going to be doing the same thing. I got to keep my table clear as I'm working because I have a habit of making a mess. And this piece here, I'm going to take So Soft Lamp Black and So Soft Fine Glitter. This is Gold Glitz. I don't need a lot with that either. And it's just to break up the contrast. What I want to do is I want to tie all the elements into pieces in the object, and really the only thing that's going to stand out will be the quote. Equal parts. Mix that up. And it looks really dark. And I just need to spread that out to make sure there's enough glitter in there, and there's not. So let's add a little bit more. Let's go 3 parts of the glitter and 1 part of black. There we go, that's better. I can see the gold sparkles in there. You can see that. You probably can't see that. And I'll take my little stencil brush. And all I'm going to do is just lightly drag over the ribbon like that. Now I have one already made. It's to save on drying time because I don't want to use the heat gun on this. I did do a little bit of planning on this project. Just like this. And you don't want to saturate it because you don't want to lose the texture. Okay, just like that. So that's all you're doing. So it's just going to create a little bit of texture in there. Okay, let me just wipe this off. Yeah, I have a piece already done. It's just to save time on drying. So let me pull this aside. I have a piece there we go. So I have that. And then what I'm going to be doing is I've got some buttons here too, and I've got little scrap pieces. I've got some buttons, and I'll be laying that on this. These I can't lose. So any little buttons and any little scrap pieces. You can even use paper if you don't have that. And for the quote, so I'm looking at, I have this dry now. So I need to do some placement here because I'm going to do this because it's going to need a little bit of time to dry. That's what I'm looking at. Okay. I'm going to again use the So Soft paint. I'm using burnt sienna and primary blue. And I want to get something like a Payne's gray. And I'm going to be using the Personally Yours Urban Ink stencils. And there's a quote here, and it will just fit. It'll just fit. But I think what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is I don't want to have it just fit. I want to have lots of leftover space. So let's do that. That's pretty good. So I took another piece. I'll stencil it, and then I'll pull the string off of that. Again, with this, won't need a lot. So roughly a little bit more of the blue than to the burnt sienna. And again, this is all already way too much paint. But you can only squeeze out so much. That's too blue. Is there a pigment number on this? No, there's not. So let's say equal parts. Usually when you make Payne's gray, you use more blue. Oh, that's pretty. I'm just matching it to the, that's not too bad. Okay, we'll use that. Again, already way too much paint. So all I'm doing is I'm going to stencil the word hope on the burlap. And I'm using a little stencil brush. Applying the paint very lightly. I don't want to saturate the fabric. Because if you saturate the fabric, the paint's just going to smear. Tapping up and down, and that ensures that the paint gets into all the pores. But I'm not putting on so much paint that it covers up all, like this one here, I put a little bit too much paint and the holes are covered now. Go. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Put it back in there. Okay. All right, so, yep, that was more paint than we needed. I'm going to glue this down now. I'm going to use Decor Medium Matte Medium. Let me get that out of the way. Come on. I'm going to put a layer on this first. Do you know what would have been really pretty if I had music paper on here, but the ribbon's going to cover it, so it won't be any point. Making sure it's go up, down, sideways, and diagonal to go so it goes in all the pores as well on the paper. And I printed this on cardstock. And we are going to be edging this, so oops. I just want to get that over there. By using a good amount of medium, it gives you a little bit of time to straighten things out. I think my card is crooked, but that's okay. All these edges are going to be covered anyways. And I'm just going to take whatever's left over and just put it onto the piece. And cover that up. All right. And oh, I need my little stencil brush back. Oh, you know what? We'll do it with a cosmetic sponge. I want to do a little bit of a stencil here. I'll just dry this for a sec. And I'm going to be using the gloss enamel stick-on stencils. I'm going to use this one here. And all I want to do is just put a little bit of, just a little, because it's going to be left, this project is very left heavy, so I want to put something to draw the eye there, but it's going to be curved this way, so the eye is still going to go into the design. And I'm going to be using Decor Metallic Luster White Frost, which will tie into the little buttons. And let's see. I'm going to use a little dauber. Let's see how this works. Let's see how this works. It'll apply and burnish at the same time. You can use a cosmetic sponge if you want. Oh, that's so sweet. I'll come over here. Yeah, let's go here. This will probably be covered, but if I can get just a little bit in there, why not? That is so sweet. That is so sweet. So with that, and I'm going to take a soft, oh, I don't have any more squares. Take a soft cloth, and I'm just going to start rubbing that. And this is going to burnish it into the paper and make it really shiny. And I'm just doing it slowly and checking to make sure, because sometimes I tend to apply a little bit too much and it just smears, but if you apply just the right amount, it's perfect. And again, this is all stuff I already had. I didn't have to pick up anything special other than this little girl here. Okay, I'm going to turn on the glue gun. Just applying a coat of paint to the back, and I'm just using the Americana bleach sand. No need to do color mixing for this, just the back of the card. I also did a trim on the card because it was just a smidgen too big. That just for a sec. Alrighty. So let's start assembling this. And the stencil is too big. So I will see what I can do here. Pull off some of these on the side. So if I put that there, and I'm thinking of putting that there. And so you can't really tell the line now between the paper. And now that I look at it, that would have been a better color to apply here. So that's what I'm looking at doing. And just do the buttons like this. That's what I'm looking at. My original intention was for it to be like this, but it's going to cover. All right. So we have to put this one down first, and I'm going to use my hot glue gun. Come on. Right on the edge. Pressing gently. And you don't have to use a glue gun if you don't want to. I like it because it's just stronger. And I'm working with fabric. Yeah, that's really pretty. Now I'm going to overlap these little frillies over the card, the edge of the card, so they'll fray like that. And this I'm just going to apply a very thin. I still didn't pick up a smaller glue gun yet. You can use medium for this if you want. There we go, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And let's see. I kind of like that one. I kind of like that one. I do want it. I want it one off to the side, like a little cluster. Yeah, like that. So we'll put that there. And then the one button there. And then the one button on the side. And then the other button right there. I'll get the little spider webs after. There. Like that. And what I'll do now, I'm just going to trim this to the edge. And then just cut it. Don't want it to be too long because it has to go into an envelope. There we go. So pretty, so pretty. And all I had left to do now was just to edge the card. Putting a stamp on there, but I kind of like what I've gotten here. I don't want to overcomplicate it. And I'm using Decor at Media Fluid Acrylics. I'm using the Burnt Umber. And I'm just going to use this just to get rid of the white of the paper. I can even just go underneath the burlap. It looks shadowed. Yeah, that's nice. And I probably should have used the fabric paint for this. And I probably should have did it first. Oh, just a little bit of patience. Yeah, don't laugh. Patience right now is something I don't have a lot of. Oh, this turned out a little bit better than I expected. Okay, gonna pad the rest, and then I'm just gonna go into the design a little bit. Yeah, that turned out much nicer with doing the brown, the burnt umber on the edge. There we go. And I want to do one last thing. I'm going to be using Americana Decoupage. It's a glue, sealer, and finish all in one. It's the crystal glitter. And, whoops, I didn't have the cover on. Oh, shoot. Wasn't tight. Okay, that's fine. Not gonna worry about it. Product's still fine. And I just want to put a little layer of decoupage medium on this just to protect it. And it'll have a slight glitter to it. I didn't want to use matte medium because I didn't want to lose the metallic. So apply it and then just lightly pull it off. There you go. Make sure I tighten it this time. And this I can take with the glue gun, the heat gun. That's it, all finished. You can see just a little bit of glitter in there, just makes it just enough. There we are. So I hope that you enjoyed this little project. Again, use whatever you have in your stash. I would actually like to challenge you to make a piece of miniature art. Use only what you have in your stash. So if you don't have a photo you can use, go to Graphics Fairy website and just pick something. So make something like this. Take a piece of fabric, a piece of ribbon, some buttons, and your image, and use whatever you have and create a piece of art. And I would like to put out that challenge to you. So you can email me a picture, or you can share it in our private Facebook group. Links to both of those are on my website at artplace.ca. And I'd also like to invite you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That way you won't miss anything. And to give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. And if you have any comments of cards that miniature art that you've made, or if you've actually made one, and just to comment below to let me know, and that way I can go and take a look at it. Alrighty, so I'm going to clean up now, get ready for my next project, and until I see you in my next video, stay inspired.